Don't you love this weather? I do. I really do. We get like 2 days a year like this. Enjoy it. But we've been doing the back to basics, going over the genetic code, and we're going to be finishing up through the year doing that. But today, I'm going to talk a little bit about what makes us us. You know, last week Monica shared about why she chose the vineyard, this vineyard, and the vineyard as a whole. The week before I did the same. And it's been a theme of you guys trying to let you guys know what this vineyard's about. Well, for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing what makes us us. Us in the vineyard, what makes us different than any other church. Number one, like Monica said last week, there's not very many churches you go into and see antlers in the sanctuary. There's not very many churches you go into and see tables in the sanctuary. There's not very many churches you go into and see the pastor wearing a camel hat. But, thanks. Nice hats. Yep, that's my kind of church. That's why I choose this church. I had a little bit of a say-so on how some of it went, just a little bit. But we have the dining room experience. You know, we have where you can come in and you can have your coffee and your donut or your Danish or whatever and sit down and relax. And there's been a few times as we've been growing, been saying, well, we'll take the tables out, and everybody starts yelling at me, saying, no. So, but it's just who we are. It's part of what makes us us. But also what we've been sharing is the things that we've been doing, like with our outreaches and things like that. But today, I want to talk a little bit more of why we are who we are and why we believe what we believe. And part of it is in Matthew 10:34-39. Just to summarize it, it says, do not think I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. And it goes on, but I didn't want to go through all the verses in it. You can read that. So it's verses 34-39. But Jesus is coming and saying, he didn't come down, everybody heard him say that, and they thought they were going to, their general was there, and they're going to go to battle and do all that. But he came down to show that, hey, I'm not going to just blend into the norm. Me and my people are supposed to be set apart. They're supposed to know who we are. And part of by that is by our actions and what we do. And part of that is being able to step up and fight for God. And part of what makes us us here at this church is we believe that we're not supposed to be gray. We don't compromise. We don't blend in to try to be politically correct. God's word is black and white. God's rules are black and white. And we choose to believe it in that way, and we don't compromise and make it gray and say, oh, well, yeah, today because of the culture, it's okay to do this. Well, God says it's not. So we make a stand, and we have several things in this church what we do to make a stand. So people will see that we are different than the world. And you're going to hear a little bit more about that in a little bit. But so when Jesus was saying that, he was saying, you know what, I came to be set apart, to be different than everybody else. I didn't come just to bring everybody, make everybody feel good. I came in here to make everybody right. And that's hard. But we're called to do that. We're called to put on our sword. We're called to be able to go out into this world and stand apart and fight against the enemy and fight against the world. And so that's part of what we are and what makes us us at this church, because we believe that. We honestly do. In Matthew 5:14-16, it says, your lives light up the world. For how can you hide a city that stands on a hilltop? And who would light a lamp and then hide it in an obscure place? Instead, it's placed where everyone in the house can benefit from its light. So don't hide your light. Let it shine brightly before others, so that your commendable works will shine as light upon them. And then they will give their praise to your Father in heaven. That's part of what we got to do. We do that and we're set apart. The world should recognize us as who we are because we don't look like them. Just like with the elections we just had, we went out and we did stuff the way God wanted us to do it. We didn't do stuff the way the world wanted us to do it. Because we're not supposed to look like the world. We're supposed to look like God. There's a handful of us guys that went out and put that big Christmas tree up on the flagpole there so our light's shining here so people notice we're here. And thanks, guys, for helping me do that. And the The thing is because a lot of places, you see the churches just kind of blend out, and they kind of blend in with everything. We're supposed to stand out. People are supposed to see what we do and how we act to know that we are God's children. And the way you do that is you act like your parent. Luckily, we have a good Heavenly Father that's a good example. Act like Him, not your earthly parents. Act like your heavenly parent. And then people will see that your light will shine, and people will be drawn to it. And with that, I just want to say, I have somebody who's going to come in and speak. It's one of my favorite people in the world. My first one is my wife over here. But, this one is what's funny is her first song that she sang in church. Well, actually, we were at Youth with the Mission, and we had a little concert thing that was going on, and she sang This Little Light of Mine. How old was she? She was 3 at the time, 3 years old, singing This Little Light of Mine. And part of what she does in life, maybe she doesn't recognize or anything, but God's light shines through her and what she does, because she goes out and represents what we are and what we believe. And I'll let her get into that and explain that, but this is going to be Jamie Lynn. This is my middle kid, my oldest daughter, and she's my favorite princess. And so she's going to get up and she's going to share with us about what we're about and what she's about.
Hi guys. I'm so happy to see you all. Hello over there. It's been a while since I've been up and have gotten to tell you guys what's going on, but with what's been being spoken about at the church recently, I asked Dad if I could sneak up here and get my words in, because I watched last week on the live stream, and I saw Pastor Monica, aka Mom, up there talking about when she started going to the Vineyard. I think I was 2 weeks old when my parents started going to the Vineyard, and she was telling her story about why she liked, and I was like thinking of my own things. They were different than Mom's reasons, because I wasn't in my 20s married with children. I was 2 weeks old. So why I love the Vineyard is a little bit different. And it kind of works into the news that I have for you guys. So before I dive too deep into that, I first needed to take a moment, a serious, heartfelt moment, and extend my deepest gratitude to you guys for what you've done for me in the last 18 months. I was undergoing a major lower jaw reconstruction and prosthetic placement, and I had no gums and no teeth and exposed bars and couldn't eat, and it cost over $30,000 and a lot of lost weight and a lot of pain and hurt, and the entire time I knew you guys were right beside me. Through prayer, through your financial contributions to my fundraisers, and even in just messaging me on Facebook, so many of you guys reached out to me. I can't tell you how much it means to me. So thank you, because due to that, I'm here today, able to speak clearly and smile. So thank you. Super grateful. Who knew I would love smiling so much? I guess you have to lose it to appreciate it, right? Another thing I wanted to say thank you for. Last time I was here, you guys may remember, I got to share a little bit about what I'm doing now. And if you're not familiar with what I do, I'm the executive director for a nonprofit organization called Abortion on Trial. And we take abortion providers to court through civil litigation revolving around malpractice and wrongful death cases. So in that, we get to shut down abortion clinics, drive providers out of the industry, bring women hope, healing, justice, show them that they are worth fighting for, even though they made a mistake. Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful organization and ministry that I've been able to fall into, and my whole pro-life story is pretty long. Fell into it after infertility, didn't know where I wanted to be, but knew I was a fighter. And if you know my family, or if you've been in the Vineyard for any amount of time, you know I am the fighter. And sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not. But the other thing I am is the hot mess in my family. You guys know Pastor Jordan. She was recently ordained here, my little sister. I am not Jordan. Boy, do I wish. But I am not Jordan. So I needed a place that would accept me for me. And I've always had that in the Vineyard, and that's something that I wanted to share with you guys, why I choose the Vineyard. And now in my work, why I choose the Vineyard to be my partner church, because I've gotten to speak all over the country, from Florida to DC to, I don't even, Council Bluffs. Mom went on to Iowa, I don't know, all over the place. And I get to pick who I ask for help. I get to pick who I go to and say, I need your prayer, I need your support. And I choose you, this church, not just because my mom and dad are here, but because my entire life I have watched broken people walk in those doors. And every single time, whether it was broken by addiction, adultery, I don't even know, the people flashing in my face right now, walk in that back door, and never once were they chased out. If anything, Harry and Lenita, Des and Sabrina, my parents, would go to them and meet them at the door and catch them as they fell. This church has always been a sanctuary and a safe place for the hot messes like me. And that's why I feel so safe here. I said in first service I was getting emotional, and I can feel it quivering again. And the reason is because out there in the world, I have to be strong. I am facing some of the biggest killers in American history. They are rich, they are powerful, they are well connected, and it's very scary. But out there, I can't show that fear. I have to be fierce. I'm the fighter. But when I come in here, I get to exhale. I get to find my sanctuary. I get to say, I need help. And Lord knows, because you guys have heard me say it time and time again. Every time I'm up here, I say, this is hard. This is so hard. I need help. And you guys always help me. And so I think of that, because more than anything in the fight for life, as much as I fight for the life of the unborn baby, and I hope and pray that I can save that baby's life, I don't always get to. About 3,000 times a day, we don't get to. And that leaves 3,000 broken, guilt-ridden, trauma-riddled moms in the wake. And I think just because that baby wasn't saved doesn't mean that mom doesn't need to be saved, doesn't mean that baby's dad doesn't need to be saved, that grandma, that uncle, that cousin, because abortion is family-wide. It goes and it goes and it goes and it ruins for generations. And I wanted to be able to do something that would help stop that, while also being that safe place for those broken people. And there's so many reasons why people choose abortion. I don't have time to go into that today. And there's so much harm that comes after that choice, and I don't have time to go into that today. I would be super happy to come up on a weekend or a weekday and give a training on statistics and information and really the ins and outs of the fight. But really what I wanted to talk to you guys about is the sanctuary, the mercy, the safety of this building, and not the four walls, but this church. I said in first service, because I saw somebody who was my safety, and in this service, I see people as my safety. I said, I could show up, probably tipsy out of my mind, we'll say. Hot mess version of me. I could show up in a ball on Harry and Lenita's doorstep of their home, and I don't doubt I would be safe and welcomed in, held, prayed for, walked to better. And I need that to be available for the women I work with, because I cannot help them all. We have so many wounded people out there. 3,000 a day adds up quick. And I can't help them all. So I need to know that there's a safe place, a safe group of people that I can turn to and say, okay, here's Katie, and I can't walk every day with Katie, but I know you will. So Katie, here's the Vineyard. And we've done that with multiple people. There's been babies who have been saved and birthed and live in this very town because I said, here, I can't help you. I'm not up there. Go to the Vineyard. They came here. That is real. And it's so great. Yeah. It is literally life and death. And having that safety net here, my whole life, I've made some really crazy choices. Again, not enough time. We can't go into that today. But some really crazy choices. Never once have I ever thought, I can't go back to the Vineyard. They'll say no. They'll say, nope, too yuck. You did something too bad. You say too many bad words. You went to too many wrong parties. I never once ever feared being rejected here, because this is the place where you go to get better. You don't have to be perfect to come in. And that's so important in the pro-life fight. So thinking about Arizona and about this church and what I want to do to help this church and to have you guys help me in this fight. Oh wait, I forgot to give you some really big news. Oh my gosh, I went off on a rant, you guys. Huge news. Last time I was here, told you about the Adkins wrongful death case. 23-year-old who went in for a 6-month abortion. She died of a septic abortion, and we took her providers to court. Since I was here last and told you about that and said, please pray for me because this case is so hard, we actually have closed that case at the tune of $1.2 million and a provider leaving the industry. So awesome, so awesome. And your guys' prayers were instrumental in that. Your prayers and your financial contributions. This church has paid for depositions that have led to case-ending evidence. Thank you. Genuinely, thank you. Incredible. And the other really awesome thing that's happened since I was here last was that we overturned Roe. So, shocker. I honestly didn't think I would see that day, and part of me is very excited, and part of me is not. And I'll tell you why I'm not. It's because we're not ready. We just sent the power back to the states. Can you guys tell me what the lead pro-life organization in Arizona is? There isn't one. I'm drowning. Help me. Down in Phoenix. We're not ready, guys. Arizona as a state is not ready for what we have now, which is it's up to us. Unfortunately, the election at the midterms we just had kind of switched us a little blue. It looks like that might be where we land. And if that's the case, there has already been declarations of altering our state level legislation, removing a 15-week current limit and extending that to a no gestational limit. We will have abortion through all 40 weeks in our state, just like they do in New Mexico, where all of my clients die at. And I had this thought of what could we do to change this? Because I want my girls safe. I call them my girls. That's how I talk about the girls out there who are looking at abortion, who are coming out of it. My girls, especially in my town. This is my town. These are my people. And a recent event happened with work. One of the doctors who we had a case against, she was on the Adkins case. I got a call late at night from our attorney and some reporters who were on the line, and they told me that this late-term abortion provider, famous, bragging about her work, late-term abortion provider, was found dead in a hotel room in Puerto Rico. And the attitude of everybody on the call was a little bit different, but the response from the pro-life community was her problem, karma, you know. And I felt that for a sec, but really, what I really felt in that moment was, shoot, that's not the ending I wanted for Dr. Carmen Landau. I wanted her to see the truth. I wanted her to find forgiveness. I wanted her to find redemption. I wanted her to find healing. You cannot end tens of thousands of lives for money and not need your own healing. And she didn't get it. She has little kids. And I just thought, I was so upset, and everyone kept asking me, why do you care, Jamie? You've just spent 2.5 years ruining this woman's career, and I did. I made sure everyone knew who that woman was and what she did, and we held her responsible, and I don't regret that. That was the right thing to do. But in the moment when I found out she died, my feeling was grief, my feeling was sorrow, my feeling was, if what I believe is true, and I believe that it is true, this woman will spend eternity paying for this. And it was the first moment in my life where I actually had that feeling of I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Because she was, career-wise speaking, she was on my main list of enemies. And here I was, grieved over her death. And everyone asked me, why, Jamie? Why are you upset right now? Why are you upset right now? And my response to my attorney and the reporter was, because I've been trained to be. This is the response I was taught. My entire life, I have watched my pastors sit beside the broken. As broken as they may be. Self-inflicted breaks, even at that. And so I really wanted to find a way that I could express that to you guys and say thank you. Thank you to Harry and Lanita for instilling those kinds of values in me to be this safe place for somebody, even in their brokenness. I told in first service, there's actually when I was thinking of all this, a hot mess family that I grew up with in this church, but watching the pastors of the Vineyard in the 90s treat this family a certain way geared me to the pro-life world I'm in now, to where 5 years ago, somebody's child from this church in the 90s knew who I was and knew I was a safe sanctuary. And they reached out to me. We got to save the life of her son. My good friend adopted him. I get to see him regularly. And it's because this church, you know, they were hot messes in my face in the 90s, and here we are together still, and I love them because I was taught to. And I want to extend that, because what's happening now in Arizona is this. Roe is gone. You no longer have the protection of Roe versus Wade. It was actually helping us when you look at it legally. Now they are allowed to come in and do whatever they want, pass whatever they want, and they are. The ACLU and Planned Parenthood have already launched suits against the state to expand abortion access. Katie Hobbs has promised to expand abortion access with no gestational limit if she is confirmed in office as our governor. So that will mean we have a free-for-all here. And I've seen firsthand what the free-for-all results in, and it's brutal for the born and unborn alike. I don't want that in my state. In 2020, there was over 13,186 abortions in Arizona. 13,000 in 1 year. 169 of those were performed on viable, survivable, pain-capable infants after 6 months. I wonder, when you look at a county breakdown, how many of those girls are from Yavapai County? It makes me sick, because I know what they're going through right now, whether they choose it or not. I know what they're going through, and I'm not okay with girls in my city not being safe. And this is your city, you know? So what can we do together to expand the sanctuary, the mercy that's been shown here? The Bible says, blessed are the merciful, right? So how do we show people in the pro-life world who are questioning, why can you be sad about this woman dying? Let's show them the mercy and the sanctuary that I was raised with, because it is absolutely vital in the fight for life. Who you guys are have directly impacted actual life and death choices, and people exist today because of you. That's so awesome. Thank you. So there's this thing. I have a team of friends that I work with across the country, and they're doing things all over in different states, in Texas and Minnesota and New Mexico and Nebraska, and it's called Sanctuary Cities for the Unborn. And this team comes in and they write ordinances that align with federal law, that trump state law, that bypass governors, that make it impossible for citizens in certain counties or cities to go get or to perform abortions. I asked this team, I said, I've been helping you guys in your states for years now. It's my turn, my state's turn. We need help. Will you come? And they said yes. So if you guys will help us, I want to bring a team of writers to write ordinances and a team of litigators here to Yavapai County. And we want to put forth and hopefully pass Sanctuary City for the Unborn ordinances in Prescott, Prescott Valley, Chino, Dewey, Humboldt, Spring Valley, Cordis. I don't know, what are all of them? Give me all of them. I want them all. I want them all. And we do this through the city council, so I will need you guys to show up, city council meetings, to testify, to write letters, to call your mayor. Who's the mayor now? Skoog, is that his name? Oh, see, I was here in the 90s, you guys, I said. I'm not here anymore, but we gotta find out who that is. So if you guys are willing, I want to invite you, like I have so many times over the years, to get involved in our fight for life. And I wanna invite you to help me extend the sanctuary of the Vineyard to Prescott Valley and Prescott and everywhere else. That's my plan, because sanctuary is what's needed. Safety is what's needed. And I want to make sure that not just this place is safe, because I know this place is safe for women. I want to make sure that outside of the doors going down Glassford Hill is safe for women and babies too. So I'm going to come back soon with some dates. Actually, I have a date for you guys. Arizona March for Life. February 23rd. You guys want to come? We'll make a party out of it. Yeah? Cool. So I'll get you information on that. But I'm going to come back and talk to you about the Sanctuary City stuff very soon. Please, if that interests you, if that's something you guys want to support, if you think the Vineyard could get behind this, talk to your pastors and leaders and let them know so that they can let me know, because it is something that I'm willing to do and I want to do for, this is my hometown too, you know? I want to extend that sanctuary here, but I absolutely need your help, and I feel like you guys want to give it. I feel that from you. You guys have never failed me before. So thank you guys for that and for all you're doing, and I can't wait to tell you more, because if we can get this vibe out in that town, whoo, the lives we'll save. Makes me happy. So thank you guys. Can I walk away?
New microphone. Well, I'm kind of a proud mom. Seriously, you guys, how many of you knew Jamie when she was a hot mess? Whoop! Boy, we did some praying for that girl. And God is awesome, because not once did we worry that she wouldn't give her life back to God. We just had to ride the wave until she did. And she did. So I will give some encouragement to some of you parents who are still praying for your children. Don't stop. God's promises are true. They will serve him. They just don't know it yet, but they will. As a mom, I want to say thank you to Pastor Harry and Lanita, Pastor Desi and Sabrina, for helping Lloyd and I raise our children. We talked about this at Jordan's ordination, standing in a group of people. Rarely do you see people who have such a legacy together. And so, as we said, Jamie was 2 weeks old when we came to the Vineyard. She was literally raised by these people. And when I didn't know what to do, I would go and say, Nita, what do I do? She's driving me crazy. She's like, go take a break. Strong-willed women change the world, and that's what she is. But beyond that, the thing that she said, and I asked Lloyd if I could close today, is the fact that she mentioned the broken. And last week I read you a scripture as to why I chose the Vineyard, because I was broken. And it was the pastors here who let me be broken and know that God still loved me. And that was Jamie's story. She was broken, and they told her, it's okay, God still loves you. Some of you in this room, you're broken. And you know what? We don't care. We don't care if you're broken. We don't care if you're bruised. We don't care if you came from a good home or a bad home. We don't care if you've been addicted to drugs or if you're currently fighting the battle. We're not going to look at you differently if you have had an abortion or if you're in the middle of a messy divorce or if you're in a crisis of faith and don't even know if God's real. We're just glad you're here. And oftentimes when we come into church, we feel like we have to put on our Christian face. Not here. I hope you guys feel that. When I was going through my healing, I cried every day, every Sunday for a year and a half. People come up and say, are you okay? And somebody from over here would say, she's just healing. And it just became a thing. Oh yeah, we're healing. We're all just healing. And so like Jamie said, my heart goes out to those who are healing from this fight for life. And we are a church that reaches out to those who are broken and need healing. And the very first thing they need is probably a friend, right? Some of you in this room just need to know it's okay. It's okay. We love you. You don't have to be okay. We're not. We just know our way to the foot of the cross. And if you'll walk with us, we'll show you. Right? Let's stand.